Let's call this meeting to order, please. Rhonda, do we have any additions to the agenda?
No, Mr. Chairman, we don't have any additions.
Okay. County Counsel, will you read the items to be discussed in closed session?
Yes, Chairman. There are several items for closed session today, the first being labor negotiations pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The county negotiators are Adrian Caleb and Ken Caves. The employee organization is all units. Under the same Government Code section, the county negotiator is Adrian Caleb and the unrepresented employee is the county administrative officer. There are several performance evaluations under Government Code Section 549547. The titles of the positions are County Administrative Officer, Department of Corrections Director, and Director of Child Support Services. There's a conference with real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. The county negotiator is Eric Fleming, the County Administrative Officer, and the negotiating party is California Water Service. Under negotiations is the price and terms related to assessors parcel numbers 049056009, 049160007, and 049056017. These parcels are located west of California 41 and north of Avenue 10. The last item is anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D2. Significant exposure to litigation. There are two cases.
Mr. Chairman, under public comment for
I made a mistake. It's public employee appointment employment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. The title position is Director of Child Support Services. I incorrectly said it was a performance evaluation. It is not.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, under public comment, we received correspondence from Dale Drozen, legal resident of Fresno County and property owner, part-time resident of Madera County, asking us to read this into the record. Gentlemen, we are in Rolling Hills, CSA 19, are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Our water system, for many reasons I will not discuss at this time while under control of this board, acting as board of directors for the district, has fallen into total disrepair and is on severe restrictions. Many of us have been search our options. I and several others feel turning our water system over to Cal Water to own and manage is our best option. This will be a hard sell with many Rolling Hill residents who have invested a great deal in the system. In researching this agenda, I discovered one of the parcels under negotiation is the location of our fire station / community center built by the residents of Rolling Hills. I fear if a way is not found to do a lot line adjustment or some other maneuver to cut the fire station community center out of the sale, and may be the poison pill that kills the deal. I firmly believe every member of this board would like to see CSA 19 out of your control, responsibility, and your hair. Please direct staff to work on a solution that will allow the transfer of all water assets while the fire station community will be owned by the now legally formed association. Thank you, Dale Drozen.
Very good. Any comment from the public? We'll proceed to go into closed session.
Reportable actions from closed session.
Very good. Invocation will be by our supervisor, Robert Poitras, and salute to the flag will be by our supervisor, Wheeler.
Will everybody join me for the invocation? Let's pray. Father, we're thankful for this opportunity to gather here today and for a country that we can live in that allows these kinds of assemblies and processes and for the freedoms that we have. We ask that you would guide the discussion today and provide wisdom as decisions are made. And we just ask a special blessing for each one here today. We ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We open and close in memory of, we have Supervisor Wheeler.
Thank you. It's George Wright. He done so much for the Elks Club up there and other things too, but he passed away. He was been the grand hoopah of the Elks Club, the treasurer for years, and he actually kept it going pretty well. And he got sick and with cancer and stuff, and he died really fast. So I just wanted to open and close in his honor. So thank you, Max.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay.
Public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session is set aside for members of the public to comment on any item within the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. Items presented under public comment may not be discussed or acted upon by the board at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public is invited to comment at the time the item is called for consideration by the board. Any person addressing the board under public comment will be limited to a 3-minute presentation to ensure that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak. Any handouts to the board must be submitted to the Chief Clerk of the Board for distribution to the supervisors. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium. Also, all persons addressing the board may state their name and county of residence for the record.
Very good.
Good morning, Tanya Say, Chief Information Officer. On June 13th, your board approved a contract with Vision Internet for the development of our new website. We're very excited. The project has started. We've kicked off the project. The very first portion of the project is a discovery stage where we're really trying to gauge the user experience, what we want, what the constituents need from the website. So we're really trying to gauge what we're missing and how we need to improve with this new process. So my purpose for coming here today is that part of the process is we're going to have a link to a survey on our website for all of our constituents, anyone who's interested in filling out and letting us know what we need to do to make this website work for our constituents. In addition to putting it on our website, the link on our website to this survey, we are also going to send it to, we'll send it out to the MCAU, all of the county employees, and that way we can gauge, they can help us gauge what the constituents need for the constituents that they actually serve. We need to get approximately 383 surveys back for it to be a statistically significant survey. So in addition to sending it out to all of our staff members as well as putting it on our website, we're also going to send it out to each one of the supervisors, chief of staff, so that when you're out at your town hall meetings, I think there might be a coffee with Rob coming up, then you can also encourage any constituent to please complete this survey because we really want to gauge that experience. And also, any members of the public that are here today, please go to our website and complete the survey.
Can you get a little flyer that we can put out too?
I absolutely can do that, and we can email it to the chief of staff.
Yeah, if you do that, it'd be really good so I can have it. So pass it out. That makes it a little easier.
All right, and the survey will close July 26th. That's kind of it only gives us really 2 weeks to get up to that 383 surveys. The reason for this is because we really want to try and keep this project on schedule as much as possible so that we can implement the new website at the very first, after the first of the year. I'm sure that everyone's aware of the experiences that we've been having with our website right now, so we want to really get to this new platform because it will have redundancy. We're hosted, and it will have redundancy with different server locations. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, we'll bring it back for the next item.
I want to say something.
What's that?
I want to say something.
Okay. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to brag a little bit. At 74 years old, 11 months and 2 days, I entered the Loggers Jamboree and with Nate Hodges, and we won the double handbucking contest. And we cut the 22-inch log in 9.85 seconds, and second place was 11.91. We beat them by over 2 seconds. So I just showed the kids that us older folks can still whip them. So
do we have a proclamation for Tom?
Yeah, we did one, yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah. You better hang on when we're sawing that thing.
Come on up.
So, for public comment?
You bet.
Good morning, Supervisors. Brittany Dyer, District Chief of Staff to Supervisor Tom Wheeler, District 5. I just wanted to share with you that yesterday I was up in Sacramento at the Governor's Tree Mortality Task Force, which was created in October of 2015. So we're going on about 22 months and almost 24 before we know it. I wanted to let you know that we are doing a pulse check, kind of an activity where we're checking in with the counties and all of the agencies that are represented to see what's working well and what could work better. So that's some exciting news. So it's good to reflect back and see what we can be doing better. But I also wanted to share some potential successes. One of those items is in the California Disaster Assistance Act. In the January budget, we had about $42 million, and in the May revise, we had about 2 or 3 allocated to us. And so the 10 counties got together and produced a letter requesting a minimum of $10 million actually be put back into that fund specifically for tree mortality. And yesterday, we did learn that we got 6. So that will continue to support the California Disaster Assistance Act funding that we're utilizing on county roads and the projects there. So that was a big win. I also just wanted to let you know of some of the on-the-ground efforts. The log deck was up in operation and was successful for some time. However, it had to be closed to the public in the North Fork area. And now what we are seeing is some illegal dumping. The Forest Service told us about what they're seeing on Friday at our Tree Mortality Leadership Committee meeting, and I did confirm with the other counties that it's happening across the Sierras. So that is something that we're looking into to see what can be done. We're working with the Market Development Committee from the Tree Mortality Task Force to see what we can utilize. One of the projects with that actually is for Caltrans to utilize some of the denim wood to be able to use for their post along the highway. So just trying to be creative of what we can do with the structural feasibility of the wood. I also wanted to share that there had been a bit of a conflict in regards to the executive order limiting who we could utilize in the field, licensed timber operators versus registered foresters. And so we're going to be amending that language, which is not easy to do. But we've gotten some green lights, and it looks like that's going to be moving forward as well, which will help for on-the-ground work up in District 5. And then lastly, we did help produce a 10 high-hazard county support letter for Senate Bill 265, and this would potentially reduce the CDAA, the California Disaster Assistance Act match, from the 75% up to 90%. So instead of us contributing 25% of the project, we'd only have to consider 10% of it, which your board allocated about $500,000 to that last year, so that'll help us go that much longer. And with that, that's all. I just wanted to give you the update. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me ask you a question. What you're talking about are some of the trees that have been fallen. They're trying to salvage them as logs so they can send them to sawmills.
Well, unfortunately, there's not much value for the timber, but the illegal dumping I'm talking about is some subcontractors that aren't having anywhere to place them, and so they're going to Forest Service lands and in the middle of the night and dumping. So either large amounts of pine needles or actually the woody debris itself.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharp. Yeah, really sharp.
Agenda item 5, consent calendar.
No questions.
No questions. Any questions from the public on the consent? Not the consent, but the consent calendar. Any questions? Currently not. Let's bring it back.
I move we approve the consent calendar as given.
Second.
We have first and second. Roll call.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, 1 absent.
Very good.
Public hearing. Community and Economic Development Department, Planning Division. Hearing to introduce an ordinance amendment proposed by the County of Madera for zoning ordinance text change to amend various provisions of Title 18. In particular, consider amending the definition related to accessory structure and further consolidate the residential zone districts consistent with Ordinance 525-770 adopted earlier this year, waive the reading, and set the public meeting for July 18th.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Treber, Planning Director here. Also, I have with me Becky Beavers, Deputy Planning Director. Becky has a brief PowerPoint presentation to go over, and then we'll certainly be available for any questions or concerns the board may have on this item.
We will address the accessory structure first. Currently, the way the ordinance states it, you have to have a primary structure before you can build a secondary structure. So if somebody has a vacant lot and they want to put a storage building to store their materials for to build their primary structure, we can't allow it. This change would allow them to have one accessory structure prior to construction of the primary structure, subject to an approved zoning permit. The zoning permit would allow the neighbors to know what's going on and would allow us to make sure that it doesn't turn into a living quarters. The other change that we're suggesting is really just a verification. Current practice and policy is to look at single-family dwellings, the rental of single-family dwellings, as a by right use, whether it's long-term or short-term. If somebody comes in and says, I'm going to be renting out my house, fine. We require a business license. No other questions are asked. But we've had a lot of phone calls, a lot of questions about what we do. So what we're proposing is that we simply clarify this. The proposed amendment would codify the current policy, and rentals of a single-family dwelling, regardless of length of tenure, would be allowed in all zone districts. That's the way we are actually handling it now and have been ever since I've been working here. We did research on other jurisdictions to see how they handled vacation rentals or the rental of a single-family dwelling. And we found that Tulare, Fresno, and Merced are doing the same thing we are. Whether it's a short-term or long-term, a rental is a rental of a single-family dwelling. And there's no ordinances requiring or restricting anything on them. Mariposa requires a registration and a payment of TOT tax. We did a lot of other research. A lot of counties are doing a lot of different things, but these are our immediate neighbors, and this is how it's being handled. At the June 13th, 2017 meeting, the Planning Commission voted 4-0 to recommend approval to the Board of Supervisors.
If I could just expand a little bit on the presentation. So, for example, Mariposa County, which was on the slide here, they have a registration similar to what our business license requirement is, which is in essence a registration of these homes, and the TOT collection, which is what the County of Madera does currently and is doing for the approximately 300 vacation rentals that are in this county currently that are paying TOT tax and registered with business licenses. So it's very common. Fresno County, and as Becky's slide had, actually doesn't require anything, business license, and they don't track them, they don't pay attention to them whatsoever. Merced County is very similar. And just to touch on a few other things, right, and Becky has already alluded to this, but we've done a lot of research, Mammoth, Truckee, and a lot of resort or vacation type areas. They have handled it the exact same way that the county has historically handled our vacation rentals. They either get a registration free of charge, no cost. We actually have a cost to homeowners for that business license. And, just want to clearly spell out that we're just clarifying the historic practice that's been ongoing for 20 to 30 years in this county of these. So with that ends staff's presentation, and we're available for any questions.
Supervisor Poitras.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have one question right now, and it's regards to, Mariposa and registration and so forth. Does that include Airbnb or?
It does. So any of their short-term, yes, it does require that. And the big thing to also hit on here is we're talking about the rental of the entire single-family home here, and our code is specific to that. If an individual is renting out individual rooms, so you have multiple families staying under one roof in the residence, that is considered a bed and breakfast by our code. Always has been and currently is today. That does not change with this amendment or clarification that's before the board today. The other thing so that handles that. Bed and breakfast also, they provide food as part of that. So, and the bed and breakfasts do require a conditional use permit due to the potential for increased traffic and parking and more inhabitants of that residence. So, okay, thank you.
Supervisor Wheeler.
Yeah, thank you. How many years has this policy been in place?
Well, I'll speak for the 12 years I've been here. Becky's been here 26 or 27. So this has been in place for that duration of this time. And
so you've been here, Becky? Yes. Even before you got here?
That's the way I was taught to process things when I came to work here 26 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So that was the practice
nothing
at that time, and we have changed nothing.
Right. And this is just for the Airbnb part of it. How many complaints have we had over those years that you can remember?
So, and I'll touch on that briefly, and Becky and I have discussed that exact point. So, in that time, we have had, to my knowledge and Becky's knowledge, 3 separate homes that we've received complaints on, whether it be for noise and vehicles parked and trash and debris. In every one of those instances, we had code enforcement. I personally sent code enforcement officers up multiple times to those properties to investigate and determine if we had a violation. And in every instance, the property was kept clean. There were vehicles parked on the property within the driveway. There wasn't a nuisance that was there. The trash was cleaned up, and there was no violations issued on any of those 3 in the 26 years of handling these, and with the 300-plus vacation rentals that are currently within this county.
Okay, and the other part of it is to do with the accessory buildings. Since I've been on this board, almost 12 years now, one of the main things that I've really complained about is that if you own a piece of property, you couldn't build a garage or a shop on it before you build a house. And it bugged the heck out of me. And I can't tell you how many times we've had to come to staff and get variances to have that corrected. So it's taken a long time, a lot of convincing, but we're finally changing that, and that's more important on this particular zoning change than almost anything we're doing, I think, personally. So I want to thank you personally for finally getting this done, to give us our rights to do what we want to with our property. So thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yeah, so I think when we look at this, so the policy has been, you allow single-family residences to be rented for short-term, long-term. We haven't regulated the length of stay. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So, and it's been the same way. I think, as a kid, my parents had a cabin up in Miwok, and the only vehicle for them to be able to rent that during the times that they weren't using it, which was often because we couldn't get up there all the time, was through a property manager or a real estate agent, right? So the only thing that has changed from then until now is technology. It's easier. It's a marketing tool that is vastly improved than flyers in an office of a rental place, where you have to look in the yellow pages, find who's renting the places, what kind of inventory they have. Now you just pull it up on an app, and you're able to see it. This is a paradigm shift in the way people are vacationing, the way they're lodging, and the way that people are utilizing assets that they have, their homes. So the only thing that's changed is technology, as far as I'm concerned. And we just have to meet that technology and see it and understand it and know where we go from here, because that's not going away. So my question is, in this, through this ordinance, does this ordinance, if it creates it by right, does that limit what an HOA or what a CC&R would say? So if the individual community wanted to not have it in their area, do they still have that ability through their CC&Rs and HOA to limit the short-term rentals?
Excellent question, Supervisor. And this ordinance before the board does not restrict the neighborhood or citizens from creating and adopting their own CC&Rs that would restrict that. No, this does not prohibit that in any fashion.
Does this allow people property rights to be able to rent their dwellings if they choose to?
Yes, sir.
And it still allows for communities to come together and determine whether or not they want that in their community?
Absolutely. And the other thing to be said is, right, with any code amendment, and you've heard up here a lot, that this is a living, breathing, and they can change over time with changes in technology and how people are doing this. So if it's not working, we're going to be back before this board, absolutely, to look at an amendment to that.
Supervisor Poitras?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just dovetail what Supervisor Frazier was asking some of the questions. Now, what I'm looking for is consistency in what's going on now with the vacation rentals and the bed and breakfasts and so forth, and tying in with the new technology allowing Airbnb. Before these things, Airbnb wouldn't have existed. And so how are we like we charge TOT on, vacation rentals and hotels and motels and bed and breakfasts and so forth. How do we do that with Airbnb rentals?
Excellent question. And I believe the Treasurer Tax Collector is here, but I don't want to speak for her. But I will tell you, the board, I think it was in about May, adopted a contract with Host Compliance, a software company that would go and gather all the data on these different rental entities that we have throughout the county, and to ensure that we are collecting the necessary TOT and there's no escaping or we're missing some of that. So this ordinance, absolutely, they have to get a business license. They have to get and pay for their TOT tax, just like hotels or any other rental property, short-term rental property.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you.
Supervisor Frazier?
And I want to, I think we have to make there's no difference between a home that is an Airbnb home and a home that is marketed in a rental office. Is that correct? There's nothing different. They still have to follow all the same exact rules. They have to get the same business license that each one does. It's just the marketing vehicle by which they get it sold or get it rented. And they just are able to get it rented probably more often because of the network of people that are going on to it. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And others in the audience can probably speak better than I can to this, but I know for a fact multiple times a home will be on multiple different platforms to try to get the greatest coverage to ensure that. So yes, they'll be rented through a rental agency and or different, Airbnb. There's multiple different sites that have the ability there.
And if I just may add, Tracy Kennedy, Madera County Treasurer Tax Collector.
Any more comments?
That's it.
I'm not public, really, exactly. But I just want to let you know that it's really up to the property owner. The property owner is who needs to comply, correct? So that is who we are reaching out to make sure that they are in compliance, that even if they are advertising through other platforms, that they are making sure that they are collecting the right amount of RTOT and BID that is out there. So it's ultimately up to the property owner. Thank you.
I got one more.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, Regina, before we get into too much discussion when the public starts talking and stuff, I want to clarify my eligibility to be able to vote on this or not vote, and if you could put that on record, please.
Sure. So declaring a conflict of interest is completely dependent on each supervisor, each public official. Certainly as council, we can provide some analysis along with the FPPC, the Fair Political Practices Commission, who ultimately has the final say because they're the enforcers of conflicts. But in this particular instance, the facts that you have shared is that there is a property that you built and owned with someone else, and now you no longer have title of that property. You don't own it. You don't collect.
No, I do own it. All we did is let our kids take it over to run Airbnb. I still own it. My ex-wife and I still own it. We just don't, we're not participating in it. The license they got from the county is in their name, not in Janet and my name. So
and any income,
we don't get no compensation from it at all.
Right.
It's all theirs.
So the Political Reform Act asks members to abstain if there's a reasonably foreseeable financial effect on you over the decision. And because you don't bring in any of the finances from renting it, and because this would affect the majority of the population, there's likely not a conflict. And so you can abstain if you wish, or seek an opinion from the FPPC for protection, complete protection, but I don't believe that there's a conflict of interest because you don't have a financial gain in the rental of it.
Very good.
It doesn't come to you, and your children are not dependent on you.
No, not at all.
Very good. We'll open up to the public at this point. Come on up, folks.
Hello.
There we go.
Hi, Rhonda Salisbury, CEO of the Yosemite Sierra Visitors Bureau, Visit Yosemite Madera County. I just wanted to speak to the tourism aspect of this. I've been in this industry for 30 years, and you're absolutely correct. This has been going on for hundreds of years, renting your homes out. But because of technology and because of the leaders with Airbnb and VRBO and HomeAway, this industry has exploded. I've been through about 4 seminars now with industry leaders from different counties in California talking about these issues because they are a big a big factor in tourism. They're a huge factor in tourism. In fact, for Madera County alone, it's about a $7 million revenue stream for the people who are renting these homes out. And taxes, about $605,000. Our assessments, about $134,000. But the rental agencies will be able to talk a little bit more about the employment opportunities that these homes renting, this home sharing industry brings, utilities, linens, housekeeping. I mean, just crazy amount of money that it's brought to our communities. And for the people opposing it, you live in a tourism community. I mean, we are in tourism communities. These tourists are most of our bread and butter, and they're good people. And I don't, in the whole industry and all the conferences and things that I've been to, I don't hear that the people that are renting these are bad people, and you have to worry about Megan's Law, and you have to worry about people starting fires and things like that. That's not the big industry thing. Yes, there are noise complaints, but we have noise ordinances in place. And as Matt had talked about, the communities surrounding us have about the same procedures as we do. Mariposa is just a little bit tighter on it, but not many are very regulated. But they do want to know who's out there and have some kind of a permit process. So I feel that the permit process that we have is correct for our situation, and we're just growing as well. So if there's any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning. My name is Philip Ireland. I'm a resident of Madera County, and I live in Oakhurst with my dear Lisa. And we came up from San Diego 18 months ago. This is kind of our next 20 years plan, and we bought a property that we could use as a vacation rental because I didn't do my career quite right, so I need to make some money. And so this is kind of our little bread and butter operation. And we have a cabin on the property that we vacation rental. We are on Airbnb, VRBO, and TripAdvisor. And the councilman was correct. It is a game changer. This technology has allowed us to do this, something we couldn't have done 10 years ago. And with the Airbnb operation, the vacation rental, Lisa operates a yoga instruction organization in Oakhurst. I brought my video production business with me from San Diego. We're investing money in the community, and we are taking some money from the community. We are welcoming visitors from all over the world to Oakhurst, and we encourage them at every turn to be patrons of our community in the restaurants and the park, and this is a good thing. I mean, bringing people to this region is a good thing, and organizations like ours, responsible organizations that have a business license, that pay TOT taxes, are a good thing for this region. And so I'm in favor of the revisions in language. I hope that you will approve. I understand there are a few bad actors, and I would encourage you to police those bad actors, because it only floats everybody's boat. For you to do your jobs, make sure that neighbors do have rightful use and peaceful environment in which to use their properties. So we live on our property. We are there all the time. We make sure that the people who come to visit us are appropriate and act appropriate on our property. We do have neighbors across the fence. We make sure that they are happy with the operation, and so vacation rental is a good thing if done properly and if policed properly. If you need to enforce, please use that nuanced approach. Do not throw this beautiful baby of vacation rental out with the bathwater by painting with a broad brush. Please use the nuanced approach. Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You might tell if they can come up and sign. They can tell them they come up and sign for you.
Sorry. Good morning, supervisors. My pleasure to be here. I'm Steve Welch. I reside at Bass Lake, and I'm also the president and owner of Bass Lake Realty. We support the adoption of this text change in the zoning ordinance, since it really is needed to clarify the accepted practice that's going on with short-term rentals. Our firm has been in the vacation rental business in the county since the early 70s, and at that time the TOT collected by the county was about $30,000. Today it's over $2.5 million, represents over $28 million in lodging revenue, and a good share of that comes from short-term vacation rentals. As you know, it's a growing industry as the public becomes more comfortable with it. It's not without its challenges, but it is becoming a lot more professional as people become used to it. There are many economic benefits in addition to the tax revenue. Vacation rental occupancy stimulates retail, restaurant, and gas sales, adding to sales tax revenue, boat rentals, sightseeing services, and, of course, employment. There's employment in management, reservations, cleaning services, linen suppliers, repair contractors, such as HVAC, and plumbers and electricians, and so forth. It's a vital part of our community, especially in eastern Madera County. Concerns from neighbors are understandable, but I want to mention some of the safeguards that we have in place to ensure the responsible use of homes, since our goal is really to be a good neighbor. First and importantly, our focus, I believe, and most of the other individual vacation rental owners, is for family use. We're not out for groups and organizations. This reduces the likelihood of noise and other possible offensive behavior and over-congestion. Our vacation rental owners, obviously they have a financial incentive to maintain their property in good condition, and we assist them in doing so since they authorize us to inspect, supervise maintenance, arrange repairs, including keeping a property fire safe. We collect and remit the transient occupancy taxes, I think, as you know. We also require them to maintain a landline for 911 and reverse 911 emergency calls, as well as we require smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors. And if they fail to provide them, then we will put them in. And of course, we require they provide proper insurance. As far as the tenants, we collect their deposits, and that encourages responsible use. We have a quiet hour from 10 o'clock at night till 7 in the morning. We limit the number of people, and they're subject to eviction if they don't comply with those rules. We reserve the right to inspect the premises at any time. We don't allow RVs to be parked or occupied on the premises. And if trash is not taken out on trash day, or if it's excessive, we can make an extra charge. In the summertime, at least in our area, there's 2 trash pickups per week. In addition, our firm goes around on the weekend and picks up additional trash because we just don't want to be a bad neighbor, and we want to keep the neighborhood clean. We also, like most agencies, have a 24-hour number to respond to complaints. All of these policies are intended to provide both a good guest experience as well as being a good neighbor. Our firm also provides long-term property management, and a curious observation from our experience is that vacation rental owners, on the average, do a much better job maintaining their property. And the tenants in our long-term rentals often provide greater challenges than in vacation rentals. Issues such as occupancy levels, yard maintenance, unauthorized pets, noise, and parking issues. And frankly, on the rare occasion that we have an issue with a short-term tenant, it resolves itself rather quickly because they're gone in a week or less, whereas the long-term eviction process can go on for months. I hope some of these comments and observations are helpful in your consideration of this change. I think it's really needed, this clarification is really needed to continue the vacation rental industry and the viability for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Questions? Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Board of Supervisors. It's a pleasure to be here. Myra Torres, Madera Association of Realtors, Government Affairs Director, and I also own Realty World Real Estate Professionals here in Madera. So I'm here before
you in support of what is presented to you. Madera County has wonderful destination locations, and we wish that we had more of them, just so that we can generate more activity in our county and more income and revenue. I do believe that as Bass Lake Realty, they have a wonderful system in place, and we, as the Madera Association of Realtors, are in support of as what is being presented to you today. Now, one of as Becky presented, a part of her presentation is to have this accessory unit. It's very much needed as we are getting new construction back, and we have a lot of the builders or the home builders that are building their own home, that they need to store their supplies and or equipment, materials, and this accessory unit will be able to accommodate all of that for them. So I think this is a win, and it's for the homeowners and for our residents. So yes, we are in support of that. If you have any questions for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm Brad Ditton. I have an office at 54299 North Shore Road at Bass Lake. I'm involved in two companies, Sierra Home Rentals, also Century 21 Ditton Realty, and turns out that this is now my 40th year, so I've seen how this has evolved over time. First of all, there's two parts of this hearing. One is the storage buildings, and that is like 12 years late in getting approved. It's a nightmare for people coming from Los Angeles who are good people. They build expensive houses. They have all the equipment they've needed because they've become almost my age when they've retired, and they want to move here. They have a full boat full of furniture, full of equipment, and they have to leave it all in L.A. because they can't store it here while they build their house. So we need to, as a minimum, approve the storage building where people can come here, store their goods, the neighbors look out for it, and then they have the ability of using those tools they generated or acquired over their entire life to build a home. So that, I hope, hands down, needs to be approved. I have a handout that I'd like to, as checked in, I'd like to hand this out. And this concerns the property management, short-term property management. So as I said, I'm involved in Sierra Home Rentals and also Century 21. Most of our property management now is under the name of Sierra Home Rentals. It turns out that in Madera County, and maybe even all of Madera County, but at least that portion north of the Madera Canal is a tourism area. I summarized last year the expenses that if you'll take a minute to do that, look through that. I'll go through that briefly also. But while you're looking at that, I just want to mention that Airbnb and VRBO, HomeAway are all contact manager programs. Who would have thought 5 years ago that Uber, you can pick the phone up and call a car around the corner. And Amazon is around the corner, or they'll deliver the same day. Same-day service in Oakhurst nowadays. And Airbnb and VRBO does the same thing. They just locate, have the ability for people to locate houses that are for rent. It used to be that Steve and I would, at Bass Lake Realty, we would publish a booklet. Maybe we would do 4,000 books thinking we were really lighting the nation on fire. And now, with the advent of Al Gore and the Internet, we're able to get to hundreds of millions of people. And we do get inquiries frequently from China and England, all around the world. And people are coming here from all around the world. They're going to Yosemite, but they also like to stay in vacation houses that we have not only in Bass Lake. Who would have thought that somebody that rents a 1,200 square foot house in Oakhurst, because they're living on the 405 freeway in San Pedro or down in Southern California, they get relaxation living in Broadview Terrace for 2 or 3 days and then they go home. I mean, we don't get that because we're so used to the beauty of the area that we don't know what they go through until we go down there. and then we get a sample of what they put up with every day. So they want to come here and be here. I got out of the well, it's not me. I might say that Kathy Thomas, who runs our property management, and is better to answer questions than I am. And Kathy will speak in a minute if she wants, and we'll see. So she may be better to ask questions because I'm driving the truck, but she's being sure that everybody's minding their manners as we go along. So she's probably the best contact to answer questions, although I'll do my best if you have questions. We got out of the long-term rental business because it's become a problem. Just like the general plan is a living document, the business world is a living entity also. It's evolved with, all of these upstarts that have just changed things now. So I think because of the crash of 2008, most affordable houses that were available then were sold for dirt cheap. And now the cash flow, long-term rentals are so good in those that the people that bought them then are not selling them anymore. They just keep them because it's a slot machine. Long-term rental people are good people for the most part, but I will tell you it's a completely different world, such that Kathy and I have got out of it. It's just not a good way to go. Vacation, we collect for vacation rentals the security deposit and rent at least 90 days in advance on a non-refundable basis. In the event there's a family emergency and people cannot come to their vacation, then we will make every effort to re-rent that location and refund all of their money. If that doesn't happen, we're not sending it back. If they come and they party, if we have to go see them, or if they do any damage, they're not getting their deposit back. We don't let people book reservations on our website. We'll let you reserve a home, and then any one of our 6 people in the office will call the next day and interview you to be sure that you're the kind of people that we want. If you got blackballed last year, you're not coming this year. We don't need it, and you don't need it. By and large, if we have a problem, the neighbors call us 24/7. I know I get the calls if Kathy's not available or Ryan or other people. We have several people in the office. Then they'll call me. Last, I don't like it, but I do it, and then we'll handle it, and we get it done. 2 or 3, 4 in the morning, it doesn't matter. They're not calling the sheriff. They're calling us, and then we get it handled. Rarely, if ever, does a sheriff go out to one of our homes because we have handled the situation.
Time is up.
Oh, this is a time-limited deal?
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
I let it go almost 4 minutes.
Okay, well then, you got the point. I respectfully request that you approve this wording.
Thank you.
Hey, Fred.
Good morning. Kathy Thomas with Sierra Home Rentals, Century 21 Denton. I'm a broker, associate broker, property manager. We manage right now about 150 properties. I manage properties both in Madera County and Mariposa County, so I'm familiar with both zoning ordinances and how to go about getting the TOT applications in both counties. All of our properties have been identified with Madera County. We have turned in, I think the last time I turned it in, it was about 98 properties. I think we're at 100, maybe 101 right now. We vary as properties get bought and sold on how many we manage on a monthly basis. And so quarterly, when we turn in our TOT, we're going to turn in the addresses to the county as far as which properties that we're reporting on. We do collect all the TOT on all the properties that we manage, regardless of which county it's in. We do process that, collect it on behalf of the homeowners. There's been a lot of people talking about the benefits of property management, what we do and don't do with guests. I want to talk to you a little bit just about property owners, because I really feel like I'm standing here on their behalf, on behalf of not just myself and a company, but 150 property owners that have basically contracted with us to manage their properties and to care for their properties. These people are not all investors. The majority of people, I would say 80% of our homeowners are homeowners. These are their second homes. These are a lot of them
people that need the money. They've contacted me not because they want to make extra money, but because they actually need the money in order to keep their home. They need that money to pay their mortgage each month and to keep that property. It's a home that they bought and their families come up to use a couple times a year, but they need the income of it in order to keep the home. They can't sell the home necessarily because the home may not be able to pay for itself versus what they owe on their mortgage right now. So a lot of them are upside down if they were to sell. So it behooves them to be able to keep these homes and rent them out. Do we advertise on Airbnb? Yes, we do. About 30% of our homes are on Airbnb. Not all of them are on Airbnb, 30% of them are. On those homes that are on Airbnb, I personally screen and manage every single person who contacts us through Airbnb. We use VRBO, we use HomeAway, we use TripAdvisor, Flipkey, our own other resources to market people to come into the homes. We do have a screening process for every single guest. We go through things like county ordinances. They have a guest agreement that they have to sign. It's not just a click on a website, yes, we agree. They physically have to sign it and get it back to us, and we hold their credit card in our office, the credit card information, so that if they have broken rules, we're going to go ahead and take action against them. It was interesting that he said in the last 26 years they've had 3 instances of, I guess, complaints. I've been doing this for 6 years now, and I can honestly say I've been contacted 3 times by neighbors. Only one of those 3 times was because somebody was loud. The other 2 had to do with actually easement encroachments that had water rights and stuff along the river that had nothing to do with a vacation rental. But one time in all these years have we actually been contacted by a neighbor saying that somebody was loud. Those are not calls we normally get. We try to police that very heavily. We let our guests know the rules when quiet hours are in the community, and we try to respect that. And I know our guests try to respect that. We work hard with Rhonda. We cooperate with her, with the Visitors Bureau, on bringing tourists into our area. It's a growing thing. It's grown tremendously in the past 6 years. I believe it's going to continue to grow. When we have an asset such as Yosemite in our backyard, basically, and Bass Lake here in our county, we have some beautiful areas here, some beautiful hiking trails. That's what brought me up to the area. I was from San Diego originally, and I relocated up here because of Yosemite, because of being able to hike and enjoy this area. We market that to a community. We market it nationwide. We market it worldwide. So we have to expect that people are going to come. My time's up. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I'm very nervous, but anyway, I'm Trey Worthington Pack, and I personally own 12 vacation rentals. And I just want to say that I really hope and pray that you guys approve this ordinance because it's my livelihood. And I'm very much in love with Oakhurst and all that it stands for, and it enables me to live there, and I totally 100% support the entire community of Oakhurst. I hire over 20 people year-round to help me maintain my properties, to do my housekeeping services. I provide lots of people with jobs and incomes. I go through a very large vetting process before anyone goes into my homes because these are the only assets I own. And I want to make sure they're well taken care of, and I value every one of my neighbors. I personally have gone to every single neighbor around my whole entire home and handed them my business card and said, if there's an issue, you can call me. 100% of the time, I sleep with my cell phone under my pillow, so I do not ever miss a phone call if there is ever. And in 7 years of doing this, I have never received a call. Never. So, and I go to them. I even go to them every year and I say, has there been any issues? Is there any way I can make them a better neighbor? And they say, we don't have any issues. And if they do, it's never been urgent that we need to actually call you at 2 o'clock in the morning. All my businesses are registered with the top taxes. The county is wonderful to work with. The Visitor Center is wonderful to work with, and we are all people that genuinely care about our community. We genuinely care about the people coming to our community and enhancing our cities. I would love for them to be a little bit more powerful on collecting tot taxes from some people that aren't registered. I see the numbers, they're very light. I know there are so many out there that are not paying tot taxes, so I would love for them to join, pay tot taxes, and have a more powerful voice to you guys. If we bring in more revenue, we have more of a voice, and we support our county even more. So I'm really a fan of that. And I know that lots of people have issues, with the fire pits. I totally agree. I pull all of ours. As soon as summer comes, I go around every single house and I take them. I don't want a fire in my neighborhood. I don't want a fire in your neighborhood. We just need to be responsible. We need to care about our neighbors and our community, and the vast majority of us do. Our heart is in it. It's our livelihood. And we don't live here because we don't love it. We love it, and we love people coming and looking at our beautiful county, and we love everybody that has to do with this industry. So I strongly urge you guys to support this.
Supervisor Poitras has a question for you.
Oh.
It's a very simple one. I'm writing everybody's name down, and I think you say your last name is Worthington?
I'm sorry. I'm so nervous. I'm talking too fast. My name is Terry Worthington Pack.
Okay, Terry. Okay, I heard the Worthington. Okay, thank you so much.
Sorry.
Very poignant question, Mr. Franklin. I feel more enlightened now on this whole.
Was it controversial? Or what?
Are you guys taking up my 3 minutes? No, I'm sorry. I'm super anxious. My biggest point, though, is that I really value your guys' support in this. It is a fundamental industry in our area. And I don't think if we had the tourists in Oakhurst, we wouldn't have a community of Oakhurst. I would say 70 to 80% of people that live in that area live off of tourism by some way. And I have guidebooks in all of my homes that suggest local restaurants, local stores. People say, where should we buy groceries? I say, buy them in Oakhurst. We have a great Raley's, we have a great Vaughn's. I support everyone in our community, and I would really love your guys' support for everyone in our community so we can continue to live. And I welcome you guys, weeding out the bad ones. I welcome that because they don't do us a service at all either. So thank you very much. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have a middle name? Okay.
Hi, my name is Kirsten England. I'm a resident of North Fork. I've owned a home there for 15 years. We have rentals, both long-term and short-term, in our neighborhood, and I am a realtor with Keller Williams Realty.
Would you get it closer to the microphone?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Were you able to hear everything I said? Okay. So I'm here in support of the motion to clarify the zoning change. Sorry, I'm getting nervous. In support of the motion that you guys have in front of you today. As a realtor over the past 10, 15 years, I've been privileged to go to hundreds of people's homes and speak with home buyers in the area and talk to them about their circumstances and how they make a living and why they want to buy or sell a home in our area. And I've seen a huge change, particularly in the last 5 years with the advent of Airbnb and VRBO allowing people to do long-term or short-term vacation rentals in the area. And the kinds of things that I've seen have just greatly improved the area. I know of a handful of cleaning crews who now make an actual living rather than barely getting by. I know many local businesses who get lots of increased business from, gardening, maintenance, people going to restaurants, all that kind of stuff. And I've seen a lot of people who are really struggling. They were in reduced circumstances due to medical situations who might have been forced to lose their homes, who can now make payments and don't have to sell their homes or lose them to default. I've seen dilapidated homes in neighborhoods get bought up and improved greatly, and that supports increased home values for neighborhoods, as well as the reduction of foreclosures and stuff in neighborhoods, also supporting values and the neighbors and helping the neighbors in the communities. So, any case, I'm very much for what you guys are doing here today, and I do support you're policing or possibly reviewing the TOT requirements to help neighbors deal with the few problems that do arise. And all in all, I think it's a very positive thing for the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Carol Egging, Madera County. Oh, is this good? Okay, I've heard from all realtors and no individual property owners who are not invested in this situation. I am one of those residents who do not own this type of thing and will not benefit from it in any fashion. So my issue simply is to let you know that I live in an area called Cascadel Woods where it's mostly, I came from Los Angeles. We came up to get away from all the hustle and bustle of renters and all that other. We wanted to be in a nice community where we knew our neighbor and we could rely on each other for help if necessary. When you come, I don't expect to come home one day and find 15 cars parked next door because my neighbor rented it out for a vacation for a week. And there's a tribe of people over there that I don't know, and that they're running around, they're smoking cigarettes, or they're doing weird things that in our area, on a day-to-day, we have to worry about from the time the first grass blade turns brown till the first raindrop falls. We have to worry about the fire. It's a big issue for us. And so I can see and understand why this is a good thing for the lower-lying communities. However, when you get up in the high country, I believe it might become an issue where you may want to restrict it a little bit more. I don't know how you would come about doing that because Bass Lake is a vacation area, and they are at our same elevation. But maybe the Bass Lake, because it is a vacation area, could be zoned separately from other residential areas. Residential is to be residential for the family, not for the hotels. There's the reason that hotels are built in commercial areas. You expect when you go there that there's going to be a multitude of people, different varying kinds, and that's all good. Maybe some people like that kind of environment and they need it. But we don't necessarily need that on my street. So I'm saying I definitely agree with the ability to build a garage on a piece of property while you're building your house. I definitely agree with that. We had that issue when we built up there. And so I believe that is a very good thing. But I'm thinking maybe you could somehow expand or constrict it a little bit on the higher elevations in the different communities that are up there. I don't think it's a good slate overall. I think you maybe want to look at it just a little bit more because there are maybe some things you could do. I don't know. But thank you for listening.
Thank you.
You know how this works?
Gary Gilbert, resident of Eastern Madera County for 30-some odd years.
Sir, would you get closer to the mic?
Gary Gilbert for Rob. But anyway, I really didn't come here today to speak, but I thought it was interesting. First off, I got to give a full disclosure. I have a brother in Bass Lake that owns a vacation rental managed by Denton Realty. And I've known Steve Welch and his company for a long time. Those companies are doing an outstanding job with vacation rentals. All those issues they talked about, they should be complimented for the business model that they're running. Our issue, my issue, is not with that industry. I think the first thing I'd like to do as a board, I hope all of you have read your zoning ordinances, and especially that section that they're referring to here. The responsibility of zoning and the provisions that are in that law. But the title is to hold to an absolute minimum the requirements to promote health, safety, morals, comfort, prosperity, general welfare of the county, are intended to provide adequate light, air, sanitation, fire protection, access. There's a number of things that's in that section that leads into what the planning staff has addressed. And I hope they've provided that to you, because that's one of your primary roles as a sitting Board of Supervisors, is enforce those rules and regulations in your planning and zoning. Zoning is pretty basic. In my case, I live in a residential subdivision, 26 lots, that is zoned residential. And as we talked earlier about your accessory buildings, many of my neighbors were into that situation. They had to build their accessory building to build their primary house. The county, in their wisdom, permitted them because they lived in them as an apartment. But then, when the final house was final, the county required them to take the kitchen out of those apartments. Wouldn't let anybody live in them. So if we really need affordable housing for the workforce, what better way to do it? But I hope now, with the second dwelling unit on some of these residential lots, that's how you address your workforce. We talked about 70% of the people tied to tourism. They need affordable housing. But the main issue where I live in my subdivision, it is zoned residential, 2.5 acre minimum. And there's a reason that you separate residential and commercial zoning. And this is where Supervisor Wheeler and I will disagree on his statement. His statement was, if you own the property, you can do anything you want to do to it. That is absolutely wrong. I can't put a body shop in mine. I can't run a paint booth. I can't run a tow truck business. You need conditional use permit to do that.
That's
again,
you can do it if you go through the process.
Go through the process. So what I would say, hotels, motels, they go through the process. They're zoned. They have a legal review, plan reviews, and you're there to protect the public. That's what that zoning is about. Damn it. Bed and breakfast. Again, it's a CUP process. You're going to protect the public that is renting those rooms, and you have a proprietor on staff. They're living there. But staff gets input to a bed and breakfast. Handicapped access, adequate parking, sewer, water, fire protection, up to and including fire sprinklers for bed and breakfast. No issue. It's a public process, public input, and we know where they're at and what they're providing. Now when you come to vacation rentals, short term, it's a whole different issue. And I appreciate what the professionals have said here today, and I totally support them. I'm talking about the absentee landlord that has a vacation rental. In many cases, the neighbors don't know who it is. There's no phone number to contact. The county has issued a business license, and hopefully you're collecting your TOT. Hopefully. As Matt Trevor has said, they collect most of it. Why not all of it? So with that said, I guess on this case here,
Gary, wrap it up, please.
In this case here, there's a couple items you need to understand. Is why rush to judgment to get this thing done? Do it right, collect your revenue, and make sure you collect it all. Have a full public process. And really one of the processes could be is these vacation rentals standalone is require a modified CUP that the neighbors are stepping in. The county staff has looked at it and says there's adequate sewer, there's water, there's wastewater, there's parking, and there's fire protection. And what I would end with is the Board of Supervisors 2004 grand jury report on how to collect bed tax. In 2004, they estimated then over $500,000 is being lost. Review that report and make sure you incorporate that in whatever you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Heidi Cloth Steele and my husband Don Steele, and I am a homeowner up in the Sky Ranch area of Oakhurst in the country club, and I am a vacation rental. I rent a room in my home for Airbnb, and we love it. We currently just had a young couple from Germany. I get a lot of vacationers, usually singles or young couples, the majority, occasionally retired couples. And these people often would not be able to visit our area if it weren't for something reasonably priced. And many of them that come from other countries also love the fact that they're getting personal communication. They just feel it has a more homey feel to that rather than going to a hotel and just simply being checked in and out. Most of our people we have nice conversations with. We will give them information on the great hikes in the area, the best places to go in Yosemite on their short stays, and also inform them on other places to go, such as Bass Lake, Lewis Creek, all of the great places to eat around the lake and in Oakhurst. And I have a lot of communication with my people. I am also a housekeeper. So I clean many of the vacation homes in our area as well, and around Bass Lake, all the way out to Mariposa, down to YLP, up in Fish Camp as of recent. And I have had a lot of feedback from many of those homeowners as to why they do vacation home rentals rather than long-term rentals, and many of them have been distressed over the fact that a lot of their homes have been destroyed over time through neglect, and most renters don't care to upkeep the homes as an owner would. And so I wanted to put that out there for the individuals. I am a co-host on many of the properties as well, and I'm a super host. And it takes quite a lot to become a super host. I've been doing it for about a year now. And I have letters from 4 people in the area, 2 up at Bass Lake, and the other 2, one down on 222 off of Thorston, and the other one on River Falls. So if you don't mind, I'll just read those off to you real quick. This one here from Paul and Diane Valadon. They own a home up on Acorn at Bass Lake. To whom it may concern, my name is Diane Valadon, and my husband Paul and I are unable to be at the zoning ordinance hearing today at 10 a.m. Therefore, I wanted to write a letter hoping you will hear our voice. We have been coming to Bass Lake for 18 years before I was able to purchase a home in Coors Gold and now up at the lake. We believe the current policy and practice has been beneficial to the economy of the mountain area, although could use some more guidelines. I opened and had to close my clothing boutique located in the Junction Plaza in Oakhurst only after 3 years of business. Simple to superb local boutique. The tourist season and summer months is what sustained the business during the winter months, which was very slow. I know that the businesses are not able to thrive, and as soon as we have a good business, it closes due to not being able to make it with the economy. It seems the revenue that is created is awesome for the local county. The jobs that are available that otherwise would not be are the gardeners, cleaning companies, and more maintenance repair companies thrive even more. So many local jobs benefit the county and local communities. If we cannot have the right to rent our home as a vacation rental during the tourist months, it could possibly cause us to sell our Bass Lake home. We tried renting it on a month-to-month regular housing rental and had multiple dollars in loss of it being destroyed. We believe the zoning issues can be resolved. Thank you for your time to read our letter. We plan on attending the next July meeting. Paul and Diane. I am. I'm representing 3 other people, possibly. Okay. Okay, well then let me get to one other that's very...
You can hand the letters into, and they can
Oh, that would be great.
become
Okay.
part of the
Okay.
record.
Well, then let me just say to you, too, that being that I moved up here from Bakersfield, and many of our people that do move are transplants here. And the majority of us have worked very hard to get to where we are. And I will say that when I moved here, I worked for a local bank in Oakhurst for 4.5 years. And I worked very hard with promises of raises that never came, struggling to make my house payment, almost lost my house. And doing this has allowed me to be more in control of my own successes, and I believe that that's the same for many of our people in our community. And I see that there's not a lot of jobs out there, gainful employment in the community outside of this realm. So I just wanted to add that as well. And then who do I get this to? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Supervisors. My name is Sam Mediotti. I live in North Fork. Many of the previous speakers, they have a vested interest in what they were speaking about. I do not. We've been living in North Fork for about 18 years. Found that area to be it's a small community in Cascadel Heights. It's a very quiet community. We could have selected most anywhere in the state, let alone just Madera County, but we selected it because we started coming up here. I'm from the Bay Area. We're from the Bay Area. Coming down to the Bass Lake area in the 60s, and decided that when retired, we wanted to live in this community. And we found a really nice, quiet community in Cascadel Heights, where we did settle. Now, like I say, most of the speakers before me have a vested interest. We live in this small community, and I take exception to Supervisors Wheeler's comment that you can do anything you want when you own your own house. Well, when you look around and you see junk cars as landscaping and weeds as tall as the house, that's not something that you would want. That's not something you should tolerate, and let a individual homeowner keep their home that way. It destroys the look of the neighborhood. And so does Airbnb and short-term rental in a small, peaceful community where you get 6 or 8 cars overnight. People all over the place don't know who they are. We have 1 or 2 cars going through our community a day, and then you find 6 cars in one area where there's not enough parking for 6 cars. They block the street. They block the neighborhood. And they're in and out, driving up and down, and don't know who these people are. Run out of water, come down to our house, say, hey, what do we do? We're out of water. And we have no contact with the owner. The owners are absent owners. So if you would look at maintaining the capitalism and so forth that is going on, which is great, but look at possible maintenance districts and say, okay, this district is a small community, residential community. We shouldn't have commercial rentals here or there. Keep them in the recreational areas, in the areas that where they're best suited, in the lake area, but not in the mountain communities where it's just residential. And Tom, I think that you have a conflict of interest since you own that Airbnb and should recluse yourself from any decisions of that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure, Supervisor Wheeler.
Yeah, Sam. Yes. I just want to know, when I said you can do what you want to do, it had nothing to do with the Airbnb. I said that was for the addition of building a garage or a shop on your property. That's what I said. I didn't say nothing about Airbnb.
No, but you can do anything you want, you said.
Huh?
You said you can do anything you want.
Property when you want to put a garage or a shop before you build a house. That's what I said.
Tom's mic.
Okay, but you and I have seen all kinds of trash around home.
Right. No, I know. Hey, you got to see my place. There's not no grass left because I do that, and I agree with that 100% because I tell people they better clean their place up because they're going to get fined by our fine CAL FIRE people and our code enforcement to take care of this stuff. So when I say you want to do anything with your property, I meant that if I want to build a garage on my piece of property, I should be able to build it before I build a house. That's what I meant. 100%.
Come on up.
Good morning, staff. Good morning, supervisors. My name is Sandy Shaley. I live in North Fork, California, in wonderful eastern Madera County. And from the things that I've heard today, I have no qualm with Airbnb bookings, and in fact, I've used some myself. What I have a qualm with is the lack of guidelines, the lack of supervision. I heard some really good things from a couple of realtors today about the stringent guidelines that they have for their homeowners and for their tenants on the short-term Airbnb kind of stuff. That has not been our experience in our area. And so I would urge this board to take a step back and to take time to figure out what requirements they want to put into effect to make sure that the residents who have purchased and have supported Madera County for years, in my case it's about, I'm not even going to say how many because I bought a cabin in Cedar Valley in 1969. So I have been supporting Madera County since that time, at least through my property taxes, and 17 years ago moved up here permanently to the North Fork area. So I would urge you to put in stringent guidelines and make sure that you have the police power to be sure that people that are renting the houses, wherever they are, I don't care whether it's Bass Lake, Oakhurst, Ahwahnee, it makes no difference. The residents that own property in that area and pay the property taxes should not have to put up with raucous behavior in the middle of the night, should not have to put up with the potential for fire danger because people decide that they can build a bonfire in July or August because they rented the property for X number of dollars for the weekend. So put some guidelines in place to protect everybody and take your lead from some of these realtors that we heard today that police their properties and will turn people away if they have been bad tenants. They'll turn them away the next year. I think those are important things to put in place. But to rush this through just so that anybody and everybody can rent on a short-term basis is not doing a good service to those of us who live here year-round and full-time. Thank you.
Supervisor Fraser?
So we keep getting to this, an individual community.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, and just anybody from the community. It's about 26 homes. Are you in Cascadel? What are you in North?
I'm in Cascadel Heights,
Heights,
as well as on Cedarbrook Drive in Cedar Valley.
Okay, so we're looking at we're talking about 26 homes, and of those 26 homes, how many are in the short-term vacation?
If you're talking about Cascadel Heights Drive,
Yeah.
you're talking two.
Two?
That I'm aware of.
So 2 out of the 26. Is there an HOA, a legally formed HOA within Cascadel Heights?
There are some CC&Rs that are...
In the CC&Rs, have you been able to look at those CC&Rs? Is there some way for them to police this themselves? Because we're trying to look at this ordinance as an overall county-wide ordinance to see how do we deal with this.
Well, I am too, sir.
And so, but I just want to see how are we able to, laser knife these things and figure out where it can be. How do we do that so the areas that don't want them can't have them? Is it through the HOA? Is it through CC&Rs? How do you? Because that's what I think. That's what we're getting to in this discussion from the public.
Yeah.
So,
excellent point, Supervisor. And in regards to Cascadel Heights and the two rentals, right, there are, as I understand, CC&Rs that restrict the short-term rental of homes in that subdivision in Cascadel Heights.
So who polices that? The HOA?
Homeowner, yes.
And
yes. It is a civil matter outside of the purview or jurisdiction of this body.
Okay.
But let me just add, Supervisor, because this is a good question. I'm yes, speaking on behalf of the two homes that I own, but I'm also speaking on behalf of the whole county, because I think any area has the potential, if it's not policed properly, to be an eyesore or a hazard or a danger to the residents of the area, be it Bass Lake, be it Oakhurst, whatever it might be. So what I'm asking of this board, I guess, is to put some rules and regs in place.
Yeah. And to that point, any area has the opportunity to be an eyesore, a danger,
that is true,
with or without short-term rentals.
Oh, of course.
I mean, you can have a homeowner that is their home, and it looks terrible.
I've had that experience, yes.
We've all had that experience,
yeah.
right? So,
yeah.
and us regulating that has been, we have to do that through the same code enforcement issues. This is, I think we're looking at here is to try and figure out how it is that we still protect people's property rights and their ability to use their property in a legal manner, and then making sure that I think we actually have more power to do those things with this ordinance than we did before. I think that we actually have more power over the short-term rentals than we do over long-term rentals and over homeowners that would be doing things that you wouldn't want for them to be doing there.
Right. The proof is in the nitty-gritty, but I don't see much nitty-gritty. It just is a blanket statement. So
I like the one good thing about the short-term rentals is you can't raise and grow a crop of marijuana in 1 week and harvest it and sell it, and so we do. There is a benefit here.
I know, it's all legal now in California. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. So, but I just
I
know.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out, and I think we need to figure out how to laser knife these, make sure that the communities that want it can, the communities that don't, vote together and figure out, and we take it really more to the people than at the 30,000 foot level that we are here. So, but I appreciate your answers.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
you very much. No more speakers. Let's bring it back to the board for a decision to be made.
And I have just one more question Brad, you said you have 100 and Kay, you have 150 of those. How many are in Madera County? 100 of them in Madera County. Steve, how many do you have? 62. And then we had 12. So that's 174, and then the 4. So we're at like 178 property owners. The vast majority are in, we're talking about good owners that are doing things the right way. I mean, that's over half. You said there was 300, around 300 in Madera County?
That is correct.
So we have the vast majority of these are under good, positive management. And I think that as these are giving good returns to their homeowners, I'm sure you'll see that that grow even further. I made some of my other points before we close the public comment, but I just wanted to find out how many between all of you sitting in the audience right now, and I think that's a big portion. So I think we're probably not looking at a huge problem with the absentee owners, and that should be taken care of through HOAs.
Supervisor Poitras?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that, today, the issue is not about, what's happening around Bass Lake. I mean, I think everybody gets it, and they've understood it for years and years and years about all the great economic benefit and tourism. And I mean, that's one of the things that we promote here in the county. And thank you, everybody, for your great support and provision and guidelines and things that you do to promote Madera County. You guys are doing a great job, and thank you so much. It comes down to, looking again at this Airbnb thing that it appears the biggest issue is not in the Bass Lake area. It's in some of the areas that the further you go from Bass Lake, the more issues where it's maybe more where people might be renting a home or something just to relax or whatever rather than go boating or be around the lake. So, I appreciated the comments from everybody. Sandy brought up some interesting points about guidelines, because I think it was Steve who mentioned all the things in the contracts, and I know Brad has the same thing in his contracts, things that are expected and things that actually, protect other residents and some of those things. And so those are some really good guidelines. It could be that we take a look at a few of those things, those guidelines for some of the, or for Airbnb type of rentals. The other thing I'd like to mention, and this is the question for staff, is in item, the sentence that we're adding in here, the rental of an entire single-family dwelling, regardless of tenure, length of tenancy or purpose, is a permitted use in all residential zone districts. Now, right above that in A, it talks about it is unlawful to establish, maintain, or use any premises for any purpose or activity not listed in this section, and refers to a table. But in this thing, in C, it mentions that it says, or purpose is a permitted use in all residential zone districts. Could that be a confusing, for any purpose, could that be confusing to those reading the, or maybe be a point of contention at some point in some legal matter?
Yeah, and as far as a point of contention in the legal matter, I'll probably defer to Regina on that. But in regards to that, and really where that came from was, regardless of the purpose, whether it be for commercial gain or for family to family, really, and that's the other thing that I heard a lot of concerns and a lot of valid concerns, right? There are a number of ordinances that the board is aware of, right, and the public, that polices what an individual can do on their property, from noise ordinances that are in place and disturbing the peace and so on and so forth. Those are all enforced, and we have done a lot of work in looking at this. And as I said in the beginning, right, we've had 3 homes that we had complaints on, and we took those complaints very serious, and we sent code enforcement officers out and did reports and reviewed those and looked at those, and in every instance we didn't see any junk and debris, which is an ordinance, right, that restricts a homeowner from being able to store whatever they want on their property and however much they want. There are restriction and ordinances in place, right, and we send citations daily, oftentimes, to homeowners that aren't abiding by all of the rules and regulations. But to that extent, yes, I understand the question, but really that's where it was getting towards, as far as the purpose being commercial, right? A single-family home is a single-family home, and I've heard a lot of discussions, right? The county issues home occupation business licenses throughout the county. It's in the ordinance, it's done, it's adopted. It's a common practice that we do. But I understand the question there. Would it?
Yeah, I was just thinking that if we could change that to any purpose, that is, and then refer to the table that's already referred to. That way there's no question down the road.
We could do that, or in looking at that, you could simply strike or purpose and just say length of tenancy. You could certainly say, regardless of the tenure or length of tenancy, is a permitted use in all residential zone districts.
Right.
So we could certainly make that change for the hearing next week to strike that purpose for any concerns.
Yeah, as you talked about junk and debris, and I just kind of wanted to bring this up from a personal experience with Airbnb. The Internet community also polices this quite a bit, too. There was a house that was in Monterey that we were looking at getting for a couple days, and I was reading through the comments of people that have stayed there before, they give between 5 stars, and you go, and if someone doesn't have 5 stars, I'm not taking my wife there, and so but in one of the comments it said we couldn't enjoy the backyard because there was a broken bottle back there, and probably from somebody that had partied the week before. But if you're not staying on top of that as an Airbnb owner or a VRBO or whatever, then the number of stars are going to go down, and you're going to lose income coming through that property. So economics drive this a lot, as well as reviews. You see it more as I know when I stay. Not that I go to a hotel and just go crazy, but I feel when I'm at one of these Airbnb or VRBOs that I'm staying in somebody's house, and I have a lot more respect for it because I know that it's their investment. Again, not that I'm going in and like jumping from bed to bed in hotel rooms, but there is a different level of respect. You feel like you're staying in somebody's home.
And just to add to that as well, right, these companies, especially Airbnb, and I'll speak to Airbnb specifically, right, they monitor what's on their website, right, and if I'll use an example, right, we've had 3 homes. I don't classify this 4th one as a home because we had a complaint. It was a valid complaint. An individual had a teepee. Just makeshift teepee that they set up on a vacant piece of property and dug a hole in the ground for other instances, and it was on Airbnb. Right? We cited the property owner. Airbnb took that offline relatively quickly with that. So they monitor this as well. I can't speak for all of them.
I found a nice campsite in Santa Cruz in someone's backyard.
Remember, today is all it is the first reading, and we'll set the public hearing for the voting of this next week. So this is just the first part of it, and if Rob and you guys can get together and you think that you need to change that one word or that little sentence some way to clean that up, that's the reason we're having this today, and to get the input on it so that we can make that decision next meeting. Is that right, Regina?
Well, yes, Chairman, members of the board. I would just say, since it's the introduction and the adoption is coming forward on July 18th, that the motion include deleting or the motion include the revisions to the language today, because that will take us into the adoption, and we want to make sure there's no major changes between the introduction and the adoption. Otherwise, we'd have to do the two again.
Okay, so if you could...
So what I understood, the rental of the entire single-family dwelling, regardless of the tenure or length of tenancy, is a permitted use in all residential zone districts. We're striking or purpose and 3 commas.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Supervisor Poitras?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the last comment I'd just like to make is, during the testimony today, I brought up earlier in regards to collecting the TOT tax on Airbnb, and it sounds like it's being collected in most cases, but I also heard folks talking about that it's not in all cases. And so if there's some way that, and I know it's not part of the ordinance or whatever, but if there's some way to really, I see somebody shaking their head back there.
Well, we hired a company to do that a couple of months ago, and that's what they're doing right now. They're going around looking on Airbnb and all these other sites, and if they're on there, they're going to investigate them.
Well, our county treasurer didn't really give me a whole lot of confidence in her comments last time, because she says that it's still up to the homeowner to make those payments. So I'm just wondering what kind of hammer does this company have, or do we have, to just make sure everything's collected?
Tracy Kinney, County Treasurer Tax Collector, and I'm sorry I didn't give you confidence.
I know. I just lack confidence.
This is not my item.
What'd you say? I didn't get that.
Anyway,
Tracy,
yes,
don't
in
get
April,
upset, Tracy.
in April we did hire a company, Host Compliance, and they have the ability to go on to all these online platforms, VRBO, Airbnb, FlipKey, HomeAway, and do a search and to see anybody that has an advertisement on these online platforms. And what they have done is they've done their preliminary search, and they gave us a list of 500 long parcels that they identified. Now, some of them are multiple because they advertise on Airbnb and VRBO and FlipKey. So there's a lot of duplicates. So what we have done is we have reviewed all the parcels that they have given us to pull out the ones that we already have in our TOT system, ones that are already an operator, that are billing and collecting, like good people. So we pulled all those out. Then what is left, we are looking at, and we're pulling them out, and then we're sending code enforcement letters to them, a nice letter first that says we are under the impression, we've been advised that you are renting your property out or a room, and you are not in compliance with our local ordinances, and to please come into compliance. And this is a letter that I work with code enforcement to get. We sent out about 140 code enforcement letters so far in the last 3 weeks. And we're getting calls, and people are complying. They're filling out their business license request. They are getting set up as a TOT operator. We are telling them how to collect, bill and collect, and remit our quarterly fees. So that is good. So we're about maybe 3/4 of the way through, and they're everywhere. Some are in Bass Lake, some are in the Ranchos, some are in Chowchilla. It's amazing the areas that are have a house on VRBO or Airbnb. So our agreement, what we're trying to do is we are telling the homeowner that when they rent or put their house on Airbnb or VRBO or whatever it is, that there are certain TOT collections or BID, if they're up in the mountains, that they have to include in their rental. So whatever their arrangement is with these online platforms, they also have to make sure that they are collecting, billing and collect to the people that are renting, what our local taxes are as well.
So, but there's really still like an honor system in some ways, because you can tell them to make these payments, but we'd have to actually go in and audit.
We can do that. Our ordinances allow us to do that. Our TOT ordinances allows us to do that. We can send code enforcement out there again if we have to. Right now, we've just sent their first letter, which is a polite letter. And so we're working on our first blush. I would think that they would all want to come into compliance. I don't know any reason they shouldn't. It's not anything necessarily from them. They are charging the person that's renting their place, so accordingly.
So the tax is passed on to the renter.
Right.
No, and did you say Airbnb can collect the TOT and then pay it to us? Any applicable?
Well, they can. In some cases, they can.
Can we make?
Well, there's a lot of deal about Airbnb.
We would sell people of that, and that would probably be a whole separate issue, but currently right now, Airbnb does not even have a field for us to ask for top tax.
Can you come up to the microphone?
Yeah.
You have to.
Anyway.
Wait a minute. Brett,
Yeah.
Brett, hold it. You have to come up to the mic because you're being recorded. Come on up.
These guys are really awesome. They're doing a great job. But currently, I do manage. I've called them. I've sent them messages.
Talking to the mic, please.
I'm sorry. I called them. I sent them messages, Airbnb directly, begging them to allow me to add 11% top tax fee. They do not have it on any of mine, and I've done it repeatedly. And if you know how to do it, I want your number. But they don't. And I think as a board, it would be amazing for you guys to demand Airbnb. San Francisco does it.
Yeah,
San Francisco did. To demand that they not only put 11% top tax on every Airbnb thing, but that Airbnb sends it directly to you, then you guys will get 100%. You'll see your revenue double. I mean, it'll be over $2 million that you guys will receive. And then it's really hard for us to charge $90 a night and then give $11 to you. So I want it separate too. It would benefit us, and it would greatly benefit you. And you guys do have the power to do that.
So the question would be, Matt and Regina, how do we put that in there?
I'll go ahead and try to address that. So it's an excellent point. Really, today, though, what's before us is the zoning ordinance. I mean, I think we're talking a TOT, which we have a separate ordinance, and we can certainly look at how to address some of those issues moving forward.
I 100% agree. This would be the first step. This would be the first step to allow us to actually do it with no restrictions.
Yeah, and allow us to do research, because I believe San Francisco entered into litigation over this matter, and so we certainly want to be prepared for a full discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, but we would all support that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tracy, clarify a point. You said that you have addresses in St. Chowchilla, City of Madera, the rentals?
Yes.
And then you're saying that they should pay TOT tax also?
Yes. Anything that is not in the incorporated area of the City of Madera or the City of Chowchilla.
Airbnbs.
Okay.
Or VRBO or Flip Key or Home Away, whatever, however they're renting their place out, they need to pay the transient occupancy taxes. It covers the entire unincorporated area of Madera County.
Unincorporated.
Unincorporated.
Okay.
So on that, I mean, in this, our ordinance is, it's stating, regardless of duration of stay. So we don't define between someone renting it for a day and someone renting it for 10 years, right? So in that discussion, how do we determine what's the definition of a transient occupant?
Yeah, excellent point, and it ties back to the TOT, which states, right, short-term, not month-to-month, is what is mandated and required to pay that TOT tax. So if I go and rent a house for a year and then I'm month-to-month after that year, I'm not paying transient occupancy tax. I'm not paying TOT. If I have a vacation rental where I go and rent it for a week, I'm paying TOT based on that week. So long-term rental doesn't pay TOT. It's spelled out in our ordinance on that. Short-term vacation rentals has it. I know we have one in Fairmead even at a meeting last night. So, all right.
Thank you, Tracy. Let's close the public hearing and bring back to the board a motion.
I move that we waive the reading and set the public meeting for July 18th, 2017 with the changes for purpose.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have first and second. Roll call.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Abstain.
Vote passes 3-0, 1 abstain, 1 absent.
Okay.
I'll continue. Okay. 6B, Treasurer Tax Collector. Hearing to consider an ordinance amending Section 2.21.030 of Chapter 2.21 of Title II of the Madera County Code, revising the fee schedule for services provided by the Office of the Treasurer Tax Collector and authorizing future adjustments of certain fees based on Consumer Price Index.
Okay, you want to hand this? Okay, all right.
Evidently. Good morning. This item is just to increase a user fee for delinquent taxpayers that want to start a payment plan from $15 to $55 to actually cover the cost of doing it. And it will only apply, of course, to the people that request the payment plan and that qualify for a payment plan. And any questions?
No, it's a good idea.
Thank you. Matt Schreiber's here to speak on it if you have any questions.
Yeah, let's just call random people up to come and talk about things. Public? Anybody have a comment?
Hello, Bueller.
Tracy, are we done?
Yes, I mean, it's the first hearing to increase the fees, and we have to go through the board process to do that and to update the ordinance.
I move that we approve.
Chairman, I think we have to go to public.
Go ahead.
Yes, this was brought before the board previously, and so this one is to consider amending the ordinance.
So this is adoption.
What's a public hearing? Is this adoption?
This is adoption. My understanding, this is adoption, so this has come for introduction, and this is for adoption of the ordinance.
Right.
It's the final.
Okay.
Thanks, Tony. I move that we adopt.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Okay.
Item 7A, County Administration Department.
We'll get that. That'll be done.
Discussion and consideration of approval to update the Madera County brand guide.
Where'd he go?
He's coming.
Did he leave?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Eric Fleming, County Administrator. Back on June the 27th, your board approved a brand guide, which are guidelines on how to use the county's new logo. Subsequently, your board expressed an interest in making a minor change to one of the colors on the logo, and so we've asked Ron to give you some additional options, and he's got 3 options to look at today. I think he's going to show you what you originally approved and then 3 variations of that. And I'll turn it over to Ron.
Good morning. Okay, I think you have in front of you there a little handout that shows the should have 2 pages there. So it was our task was to bring back in an additional color to the mark, which was a yellow or golden color. Because right now on the first sheet there, that's what we had agreed on, and so we fulfilled that and did the standard guides. So next page there, we did. The request was, can we bring back in the yellow, gold, orange color? So we did 3 recommendations for you. The first one, A1, is actually one of the original designs that we did, which just swapped out the lighter blue color with the golden color. So you still remain a 3-color mark. B1, we did a little adaptation to it. We did the sky, or basically the top section is all the sun. We then divided what would be considered sort of the higher elevation to the middle blue, lighter blue color, and then retained the core color in the center portion. Thirdly, we did C1, which was to just simply add the golden color into the sun shape. There was a request to sort of fill in the rays, if you will. We would not recommend that, and that is based on the actual technique of the logo in its entirety, which is we did not fill in spaces. The gaps were to help describe the actual shape. So that's what we did as far as recommendations.
Okay. Supervisor Frazier?
My opinion, I think you've done a great job. Thanks for coming back.
Sure, you bet.
25 different times. I'd like to see a whole new color palette.
I'm learning a lot about Madera County.
This is proof positive. There's no backroom deals. We have to do everything on open. And again, I'm just going to put this out there. The yellow where it's at the top, we don't have yellow air always. And we don't want to when we're trying to send this out to people, say, hey, come breathe our yellow air. That's what that says to me. It's dusty. I'm good with the negative space, the yellow on C1 in there. I think it gives us some more options in terms of what we do with it. It still keeps the integrity of what a little bit less than what you probably would have wanted. But so I'm good with C1. Everything else, we just have yellow air, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, I agree. I tried to think how I could like that, but I couldn't. It fades out.
What does?
I think what I did when I wanted to bring this back, I wanted the yellow sun. I didn't exactly want the rays. So that C1 is by far the best one as far as I'm concerned.
Supervisor Poitras?
I preferred A1. I think we've got 4 colors on C1. I think fewer colors the better, but, you guys are the artists and you have that left brain thing going on, so.
C1, C stands for compromise.
Compromise.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I feel, I like that, the sun rays, but C1 is okay with me. Yeah.
I move that we approve C1.
Second.
Okay.
Let that tree fall.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor.
Wait. We got to do public comment. I think Bruce wants to yell at us.
Okay. Bruce.
I mean, you wore your yellow shirt to say how much you like yellow.
Bruce Gray, Madera County. My biggest question is, with these colors and whatnot, what's going to look like when you print it in black and white? I know my printer, sometimes the blue doesn't come through. And this is a question for the gentleman here. Every time I get some handouts, let's just take this for example. You got your logo up here in the corner. That's not in color. What's this going to look like if it's not in color? I've never seen anything just in black and white. You're talking about outlines and things of that nature. I haven't seen anything. The next question is...
Right here. I got it right here.
Oh, you do?
Yep. Here, we've had it.
Because we can...
Yeah, okay.
See, and that can stay the same because you wouldn't...
Now, that's on his printer. Okay? What do you do with an inexpensive printer? Will that blue print out okay as a black? And if it will, I'm good with it. Other question I had was how much money is, I don't know if anybody's done this, but you're going to change over all of your paperwork and everything. I don't know how much money the county spends on all of your letterheads and all of your cards and whatnot like that, because where we're trying to, what I had seen is we were trying to get this done before 2018, which is the 125th anniversary. And are we going to throw away all the other letterhead, or are we going to use it and this would come in? I mean,
look at our letterhead.
I can answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Letterhead. We print the letterhead with each letter. We don't stock up.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't purchase letterhead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, by the box.
Perfect.
So it would
Okay.
just be at some point we start printing this new.
That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thanks, Bruce.
All right. Roll call.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes, no red.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Thank you.
Back next
You
month.
want to go ahead?
I'm ready.
I'd actually like it to change to Madtown County. If you could do that, that'd be
I guess we better be.
Madtown County.
We got to do closed session. Yeah. 1:30.
Okay, let's break for lunch. Be back at 1:30. Let's go.
Item 7B, County Administration Department, General Services Division. Discussion and consideration of approval of a resolution of declaration of surplus property and a notice of intention to set a public hearing for the sale of real property located at Chile, California, assessed parcel number 024-141-005.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Maria Miranda with General Services. Before you today is a resolution to declare surplus property and our intention to sell county-owned property located at 13802 Avenue 21 in Chowchilla. The .58-acre property was deeded to the county back in 1978 and has been used as the Dairyland Fire Station. The station was in operation up until 2006 when the last volunteer transferred to County Fire Station 2 in Chowchilla. The station has been used for storage ever since. The fire department has determined that the site is not suitable to recruit volunteers and has no further need for the station. As such, staff is recommending that your board declare the property surplus and offer it for sale. Conditions of the sale will include a recommended bid of $190,000, which is the appraised value, but all offers will be considered, a $10,000 deposit, and sealed bids will be due to county administration by August 4th, with the public hearing slated for September 19th. And with that, I'm available for questions.
I've got two. One, Rhonda, what city was that again? Chile? Where do you live? I love you, Rhonda. Sorry. For the $190,000, can we use that? Will that be towards the purchase of another fire station? Updates? Is that going to go back towards fire?
Supervisor Frazier, that certainly is up to your board. Your board ultimately would decide that. And I could think of one station in particular that needs some help, Station 3. Well, we just recently had to move out of.
Top of your head?
Yeah, right off. So, yeah, we'll certainly do that. So we'll probably come back with some recommendations on how to appropriate whatever proceeds come out of that sale.
That's good.
Take it out to the public. Any comments from the public? Now we'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Brett Frazier.
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler, were you the second?
Yes.
Yes. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
It's pronounced Frazier.
That's the Old English pronunciation.
7C, County Administration Department, Human Resources Operations Division. Discussion and consideration of approval to amend the classification plan for county administration effective July 1, 2017 with direction to 1. Amend the classification plan by adding the class of Grant Services Manager. 2. Set the salary range for Grant Services Manager as follows. A. Range $329, $6,943 to $8,439 per month. 3. Designate the Grant Services Manager class as overtime exempt pursuant to the Fair Labor Standards Act. 4. Allocate the Grant Services Manager class as unrepresented for bargaining purposes. 5. Direct the Human Resources Operations Division of County Administration to amend the position allocation with org key 00210 as follows. Add 1 full-time employee and allocate it to the class of Grant Services Manager.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. Adrienne Caleb reporting this afternoon. Before you is the final steps to add the Grant Services Manager position into our classification plan. This is a position that was discussed during budget hearings, and the purpose of the position is outlined in the backup packet that you received for this item, and I am here to answer any questions.
First of all, thank you. Thank you, Eric and Adrian, for bringing this forward. I think this is important. This is something that we've needed for a while. That I'm just couldn't be happier that it's finally here, and I don't have to ask Eric about it anymore. But I just want to clarify. So once this goes into place, will there be a mechanism by which the administration from different grants that this grant writer or grant services manager would get would pay for their salary? Is this like we start with like an upfront cost and then?
Yes, Supervisor Frazier, that's the intent. We feel like in a relatively short period of time, this position will pay for itself through the grant administration piece of the grants that come in.
And then the more that we get and do, they can build it as it, if they can pay for it?
Yes, sir. Okay. Depending on how successful we are, we may want to add staffing. We'll just have to see how it goes. And as long as it's paying for itself, I think it's...
I just think this is so important for every department here that we have somebody that's looking out for Madera County, trying to get things just for Madera County, and not as we hear about them in passing and then try and go find somebody to go look for that for us. We have someone who's actively searching, figuring out what best fits us, and helping our allowing our department heads to do what their function is, which is administrate their departments, not having to go out and find grants all the time. Now, that being said, we still want them to, and through their professional organizations, listen, try and find grants, and then bring them to this grant manager too. But I just think this is a huge step forward. I think we've left a lot of money on the table over the years. I don't think this would have made sense actually a couple years ago when we didn't have our financial house in order before our audits. When we were behind on those, it doesn't make sense to have a grants manager if every time they try and fill out a grant, they're like, oh, we don't know what we don't have an audit, so we're not going to be able to get it anyway. So I think it's the perfect time. I'm really excited about it, and thank you for all your hard work to bring it forward.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yeah, thank you. You know, we had a grant writer when I got elected, and when I was campaigning that first time, I know Mr. Ward would always say, yeah, Wheeler, all he wants to do is live off of grants and stuff like that, because we have got literally millions of dollars in Madera County through the RCDs and RC&Ds. I mean, for anything we're managing right now, over $2 million worth of grants just at the Yosemite Sequoia RC&D. And this is one of the, I mean, I hated it when we had to get rid of them because of the economics. We just didn't have the money. And like Brett just said about the way our audit and stuff was, that it wouldn't help us either. But they will pay for themselves. This job pays for themselves. I don't care how you do it, when you do it. We've got almost 2 full-time employees now at the RCD because of these grants. We barely could even survive for about 3 or 4 or 5 years because we wasn't getting them in there, getting out and getting them. And so now that we are, this is one of the best things Madera County can do, because there's monies out there, millions of dollars out there, and everything you can think of that somebody's going to get. Somebody will get that dollars. That money is going to be spent. We got to be smart enough to get out there and get them and get that money for our citizens in Madera County. So,
and it's funny when you see a lot of times the knee-jerk reaction when budgets get tight is the PIO usually goes quickly because everyone says, well, we need the PIO, and then the grants department goes fairly quickly. And it's like if you're in an economic downturn in your business and you fire your sales force, right? Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you have people that are going out actively getting money. Now, if there's no money out in the grants world, then you don't need to have a grant manager. But,
right. There's money out there.
I just think it's always funny, like, that's one of the first ones to go is the person that brings in money.
Well, when we let things go, we let the Visitors Bureau dollars go. We let the Film Commission dollars go. We went to 4-H programs go. It wasn't only the grant man. We let a lot of important things go that a grant person can get money for every one of those different things. I mean, so it just goes hand. I'm just so happy. I just can't. I'm like Brett. It's just we're finally doing it again.
Both of you guys are happy.
Yeah, I'm going to vote no, though.
Because I'm happy.
We're probably spending money we shouldn't be spending on this.
I think you should abstain because...
Supervisor Poitras, are you happy too?
I am just... I'm so pleased I can't even communicate.
Very good. I'm happy to. So. Okay, let's take it out to the public.
Look at all those happy faces.
We'll bring it back to the board for...
I move that we approve this.
I'll second it.
I said it first.
Oh, I said it first. You're right on the totem pole, boy. You're behind me.
It's okay.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
I think he
Yes.
should. I think he should abstain because he works for the RCD and they get grant money.
Oh, that's right, huh?
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier.
We.
Supervisor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
What's a vote?
Who's absent?
Supervisor Rogers absent.
Where's he at? What was that last one?
7D. County Administration Department, Human Resources Operations Division. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution for supplemental pay effective July 11, 2017 as follows. 1, authorizing additional compensation in the amount of 20% to Dennis Koch, Director of Behavioral Health Services pursuant to Madera County Code Section 2.60.310 for performing supplemental administrative management duties within the Department of Public Health. 2, authorizing additional compensation in the amount of 15% to Julie Morgan, Assistant Director of Behavioral Health Services, pursuant to the Madera County Code Section 2.60.310 for performing supplemental administrative management duties within the Department of Behavioral Health Services.
Hello again, Adrienne Caleb. This item is actually recommended to put a temporary management structure in place within the Department of Public Health until Ms. Vaughn Do Reynoso's successor is chosen. Ms. Do Reynoso has announced that she will be resigning her position effective July 24th, and due to pre-scheduled commitments, she will be out of the office the majority of July. And so this request is effective today. For Dennis to step in and actually be the administrative manager over the department until we find the successor. I'm open for any questions.
Eric?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to well, I might want to wait till after your board takes action, but I wanted to thank Dennis. He stepped up. He volunteered. He probably would have been someone we recommended. He probably would have been the first candidate, but he volunteered before we even had a chance to approach him, so I wanted to thank him publicly for that.
Well, if he volunteered, why are we doing this 20%? I'm sorry.
That's a cold one, man.
I'll move to approve
You
it.
better abstain.
I'll second it. I'll second it.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Absolutely.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Thank you, guys and girls.
Congratulations. Thank you.
8, pending legislation. Discuss, support, or oppose legislation presented by supervisors and/or staff. And you should have a letter that Brittany Dyer provided to us for Senate Bill 265 at the dais.
Good afternoon. Brittany Dyer, District Chief of Staff to Supervisor Tom Wheeler, District 5. So I have a couple items here for you. One is the letter in front of you, the Senate Bill 265. This is what I talked about this morning. The 10 high-hazard counties, as identified by the Governor's Tree Mortality Task Force, has created a letter in collaboration. So this would be our own independent letter that we're sending to reduce the match of the California Disaster Assistance Act funding from 25% to 10%. Are there questions on that?
No. Get her done.
Okay. And then just a couple other things. I wanted to let you know that Assembly Bill 1066, in regards to prevailing wage, we had some true concerns about that and how that would affect the tree mortality contracts. We've been able to amend that now with the help of our friends from RCRC so that it would take out the tree mortality contract. It's still moving forward with some of its original intent in the ag world, but not so much in tree mortality. So wanted to let you guys know about that. And then also, we just got word that AB 524, this is a bill that Bigelow has put forward with Berry Hill, so we'll probably be coming to you in the near future. That would be to utilize the funds from the Butte fire. PG&E was declared the cause of that fire, so there's been between $6 and $8 million of fines, and we're trying to get that reallocated over to SRA fees for the grants, the SRA grants for the actual community on the ground projects. And then I just wanted to let you know that on AB 1250, your board had written a letter of opposition. That was in regards to a lot of the contracting burdens. That was supposed to be seen, go back to committee July 5th. It's been postponed till tomorrow, so we're keeping up on that as well. And when I say we, I'm talking about the district chief of staff team. And then lastly, Cap and Trade came out with something last night that's going to be voted on Thursday. So we're tracking that and working with CSAC and RCRC as well as our lobbyist. That's all we have.
You guys are doing a great job.
Could you get that information about the RCRC to Dave tonight or something today?
Cap and Trade?
Yeah. I mean, I think he needs to know that.
Yeah, no problem. Is there any other questions?
Good job.
Thank you.
No? Okay, thank you.
You want him to sign this one, or you got one?
Yeah, Chairman to sign.
I have the original for the chairman's signature.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Number 9, supervisors and staff report.
Mr. Polkins.
I have nothing to report, Mr. Chairman.
You have nothing to report, Nick?
One, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. I wanted to just say I went to Brad Phillips' retirement party. It was a pirate dress-up deal Saturday night, and it was so much fun, I tell you. And he's going to be missed. There was a lot of people from Fresno County where he worked there before, and that guy is really respected. It was unbelievable, the testimony that people gave. We're supposed to be roasting him, but most of us thank him for all the good stuff he's done for both the counties and stuff. But it was a lot of fun, and I just want him to know that I consider him a friend too. So, but the other thing I got here is tonight in North Fork at the North Fork Community Center, the Mono Tribe one, they're having a community emergency preparedness meeting, and it says, "Are you ready when disaster strikes? Come join us and learn how to keep your home, family, pets, and business safe, and be prepared in the event of an emergency." So it's a pretty good thing. The Red Cross, Forest Service, and the tribe is putting it on. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, for 4th of July, compliment 2 different areas of Madera County. The City of Madera had their golf tournament in the morning. It's extremely well attended. It's well run. It's fun. You're out of there by 1:30. It's a good way to start the day, and then after that, headed up the hill to Bass Lake, where Supervisor Wheeler was as well. The Pines had a great barbecue up there. Took the family, the kids were running around, having a good time. Watched a great fireworks show up at Bass Lake, and it was one of those days where it reminds you exactly why you want to be in Madera County. I went from the Valley Floor all the way up there in City of Madera, and it was a great day. And thanks for dancing with my 18-month-old daughter.
That was fun.
Tom, I've got good video.
You fun to dance around.
Yeah, I've got video. Good video.
Dancer.
Yeah.
This is that.
Well, 4th of July in Madera, the city of Madera, it was a regular war. A regular war. It was very loud and dangerous, and
fireworks down here?
They weren't fireworks. They were like
gunshots.
Yeah, they were very loud. Really? So anyway,
People were very patriotic here.
Yeah. Very, very loud. Hopefully, I don't know. I think that's the way it was all over the valley. I think some of the communities or cities are thinking about doing something about it, but I don't know. It's going to be.
How are you going to do it? I mean, Fresno's got those gun monitors now, but we don't have nothing like that.
Yeah, very loud. Theo, hey, Matt.
Nothing to report, sir.
No report, Chairman.
Okay.
I blame Airbnb.
Are you finished in closed session, Chairman?
We go back into closed session.
Thank you.
All right.
Any reportable messages?
There are no reportable.
To report from closed session.
Chairman, members of the board, there are no reportable actions from closed session.
I move we close it.
Excellent. We go into closed session for 3 hours.